So like a few days ago, somebody said this. They said, watching this coming together is a pleasure. Lost with AI as well. AI is fast if you're happy with whatever, but if you want something very specific, the AI is almost useless. And AI makes sense, makes mistakes a human never would, like 11 fingers in the hand. Great demo. Um, and also AI might not make mistakes that a human might make that makes it have more personality, right? But anyway, what I liked about this, which is like how an art piece comes together, you know, like this, like watching this come together is a pleasure. You know, there's something about the process that you hear all the time, right? Like it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. You hear this all the freaking time. And I think the reason why that's the case is because, you know, when you are thinking about what it means to accomplish something, the only reason why the accomplishment feels incredible is because of how much, you know, trouble was to even get there, right? Like think about it. Like if you wanted to become an incredible concept artist and you did it with like almost no effort, you won't really feel the value of it at the end of it, right? You see this actually true with people who are extremely wealthy. I mean, look at the state of the world and who's running it. And these people are still unhappy with what they do have, you know? Like content is like impossible to achieve, it seems like, being content. And I feel a lot of that even at my small scale, truly. Like it's not, again, reserved for the ultra wealthy. But if you know, have something that is a lot easier to attain, then, you know, the value of what has been obtained doesn't feel as strong. For instance, if you, again, like wanted to be an incredible concept artist, you could just do whatever, like you just won't really treat it and you won't really know what you have with a lot of respect. If you think about like all these people who win like the Olympics and all these like incredible competitions, like they spend years training, years, you know, like a lot of their life. So when they win the gold medal, it's just validation for all of their hard work. And then when you lose, you don't get a medal, then it's like, what have I been working so hard for? Like that also feels pretty terrible. And I think it's an incredibly fascinating phenomenon that occurs when people tend to like go on the journey, you know? And having gone on many journeys myself, like I love it. I love the challenge of getting good at stuff to accomplish great feats of skill over a short amount of time or for a long amount of time. It's just incredibly rewarding when it finally does happen. And it's an incredible feeling. And I find a lot of times when you look at kind of what's happening with AI, it's like a lot of that is absolutely lost kind of to the commenter's comment, right? Like you might be able to make whatever, but then like the feeling you get from making the art is almost entirely lost. And if it's just completely transactional, then it will almost have just as much value as just scrolling on the internet, like doom scrolling, right? With no reason. You're just kind of there. And we all can agree, as much as we love a lot of these online influencers, there's a lot of them that just aren't, you know, as valuable as some others. And what ends up happening is that the algorithm doesn't really care for that and just locks us in anyway. And when you think about the value of spending time to learn a craft like art and try to get good at art, that when you start to acquire those skills and you acquire like that passion and that hard work and all that investment into trying to understand what works and what doesn't work, all of that just builds up to create a powerhouse of an individual. All the things that you earned from trying to get as good as you wanted to at concept art at illustration, at whatever it is that you wanted to do, stays with you. Like, a lot of times people ask, like, there's a lot of senior positions. Like, I'm not senior. I've never worked in the industry. I've never done this or that. And a lot of the reasons why people are looking for seniors and leads is because they're looking for people who have kind of these experiences that you just can't learn outside of just doing the thing for so long, right? And as much as a lot of these tech folk will try to convince you that this is just can absolutely be simulated by AI easily, I just haven't seen it, even a close example. Yeah, there's a mosquito flying around, that I've seen that truly will do this. Like, I haven't seen it. I had a student who works in data science, and he mentioned to me a lot of the stuff that he sees behind closed doors, and he's like, yeah, I mean, I'm not convinced either. And he's working to try to solve these problems and try to like make it something that it may never be, at least in the short term, until it becomes sentient and it can like have lived experiences that maybe it can simulate over an infinite permutation. But until then, we're still the best at doing that, and having that kind of bias as well is really incredible. Like, being able to have your own personal experiences help drive kind of your specific biases for the better, I think is a good thing. I think it's a good thing to have in your life. And so, yeah, whenever I think about making any piece of artwork in all the years I've been doing it, and I think about the times in my life that I felt the most happy career-wise, like I felt like I was doing well, or let me rephrase that, like when I just felt happy amongst my career. Maybe I wasn't doing so well, but I just felt happy, was literally when I was a student, because everything was so new and everything was so interesting and everything was just like a discovery every single day. I was learning something new. I was discovering something new, and that just was so awesome. And I just don't get that nearly as much at this late stage in my career. For those of you who follow me on my Instagram, someone made a really nice comment just recently on one of my posts, about how they have been following me for a while and they just love seeing that I'm always like trying new stuff. Like, I did like this interesting color painting, and they're just like, yeah, this is like completely different than what you normally do, because that's the only way. I have to literally switch genres to feel new discoveries, and I love it. I love it. Like, it feels great. It feels good to not be good. It feels good to like still have a lot of questions in my mind about what makes this even better. It feels good to like be a student again. When I was learning how to do some basic programming, that felt great. I loved it. I loved learning how to program. I'm nowhere near as good of a programmer as I ought to be, but it's one of those things again that I feel empowered, and I can try to do new discoveries, and it was just really awesome. And so, yeah, again, the journey is a huge part of a lot of our growth. Oh my gosh, it's only been 9 minutes. Damn, I'm flying through this. This will actually normally take me, like, to get this far, roughly about half an hour, like 15 minutes to half an hour, maybe even longer. But dang, see, this is kind of the value of, again, like, I've been doing a lot of speed paint explorations, that I can see some of that is just because I haven't done this style in such a long time. And when I think about like the last image I did, that also moved pretty quickly. I think that was like a 20-minute video, right? 25 minute, maybe 30-minute video. And I kind of got to the finish line with that image. Yeah, wow, this is incredible. Yeah, benching yourself for a little bit, come back to old methods. It's a cool wake up. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted. I was like, oh, I'm going to make sure I don't talk too much. And it's like only been less than 10 minutes. It's like, oh, shoot. But I'm gonna start wrapping this up. um, but yeah, like exploring all these new avenues and trying new types of art styles is the way that I can advance my abilities these days, you know? And it's been really wonderful. It's been an incredible journey. Um, and I've been very, very happy to try new stuff. Like even the video game that I have been working on is literally outside of the style that I normally do. And I did that by design for a few reasons because, you know, my business partner and I, like, we haven't really worked together. And I just wanted to make sure it was a good working relationship. And now that I'm pretty convinced that it is. And so I was telling him, well, let's make something different next time. And so we're going to try to wrap up this game. It's a style, again, that I'm not familiar with, which, again, lends itself to this opportunity that where we learned a lot about each other and learned about a lot about the kinds of games that we made, you know, that it's really cool to see all of that come together. Um, but yeah, I would wonder, I wonder if I created a game that looked a lot like the kind of art that I'm known for, um, how that would help us out in the long term as game developers. But we'll see. Only time will tell. Actually, I like her big old deltoids. I've been working out a lot, so I think I'm just like seeing musculatures more often. But yeah, dude, if you guys are ever feeling like, you know, your art's not coming along and you have like a lot of uh, challenges ultimately with the journey, because I'm talking about how like I enjoy it and how it's incredible, but a lot of you guys might feel differently. You might not actually be enjoying the journey. And there's a couple of things you just need to probably ask yourself. One, which is probably the most important question that you ought to answer, is like, do you want to do this thing? Like, why are you putting so much time in this if you don't want to do it? And that's a genuine question you should ask yourself. You should ask yourself, do I even want to do this thing that I'm striving for? Many of you guys heard somebody say you should do more and more concept art. Now people are saying you shouldn't do concept art. Some people are saying you should do more or less, but maybe try this as well. Like, there's a lot of different advice that you might be hearing from all the different places. And if you are constantly moving with the tide, like whatever you hear last, um, then it might be a good signal indirectly that you're just not in it for the long run if you're that easily swayed. But let's say you do hear that and you're not easily swayed, but you feel torn. You're like, man, but I don't want to do this other thing, but it seems like I have to because all the industry people keep telling me that I have to. I am going to be the one of very few who's going to tell you, no, you should aim for the thing that you want to do more than anything, because you're the one at the end of the day that's going to be doing that work, you know? And if you don't like it, but you did it because somebody else told you to do it, you're going to have deep regret. And I think it's really, really important not to have deep regret. Um, Listen, let's say you want to pick something that is clearly pretty niche and bizarre, like you want to draw, I don't know, just sharks with bat wings, and that's all you draw all day, every day, and you know it's pretty niche, and there's going to be very few, you know, companies that might want that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm not convinced that that's the best strategy, you know, but I'm also not convinced that you might be a popular content creator that makes that your thing. I literally saw this video on my Instagram that made me laugh because it's like all it is this one video playing over and over and over again of somebody like headbutting people during a baptism. And it's like this animated video and it just has this like funny song playing in the background. And all it is just this guy in a river just headbutting people over and over again. And it gets more and more like escalated as it's going on. Like at the end of it, he like is about to headbutt like a demon that has like horns on his forehead. So it's like, oh no, what's he gonna do? And then he like turns around and headbutts him in the back of the head, and it's just funny. And then the next day, it's the same video. And the day after, it's the same video. The day after, it's the same video. And this guy ended up getting like millions and millions of views and hundreds of thousands of subscribers. It's hilarious. And so to me, it's like, I mean, do you, boo? You want to make a guy who happens to be um, a shark with, you know, with bat wings? And okay, who am I? Right? But but even still, like outside of that kind of weird hypothetical, the heart of what I'm trying to say is that whatever you want to do, you should at least try to do it, you know? And if you really want to do it and you feel unpersuaded by all the arguments and all the comments that you see and how people respond to kind of your journey, just know that that's always going to be true no matter what you choose. People are always going to tell you, well, there's an easier way, there's an easier way, there's an easier way. And just like I said about like this art stuff, it's just because it's easier doesn't necessarily mean it's of more value. Only the very small select few of us can take the easy way out and get a lot of benefit in our life. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I just highly recommend going on those journeys, man. Going on those art journeys as often as humanly possible. It's so valuable for you as an artist and for your growth. But yeah, I'm kind of done. I don't want to keep talking just for the sake of talking, but I do want to keep painting. So what I might end up doing, which is not preferable, I would prefer to like be able to show the entirety of this video of me painting this thing so you guys can watch that, because I think that's cool. But I don't know if I want to keep talking. I think the subject I've finished talking about. I think this is all I wanted to say. But here, this is what I'll do. I'll just kind of work on it just a little bit longer and then just call it done anyway. So that way you guys didn't miss anything. Just a little bit longer. But yeah, this is pretty crazy that I within 15 minutes I got this far. Again, like I'm telling you guys, normally it just takes me at least 30 minutes. And I was, even as I was painting, I was thinking like, oh, I can make better brushes. I could have probably moved even faster. This brush has too much airiness to it. I'm so used to like these really aggressively hard brushes that I'm like annoyed how soft and feathery this is. Where I think the vast majority of artists wouldn't mind. Like they like a bit of penciliness to their paintbrushes. But when you start to train kind of being more assertive with your strokes, this becomes incredibly annoying to deal with. I just don't want to deal with it. So I'm going to call it a day. So maybe my next painting I'll do that. I'll show you kind of what that looks like. But yeah, I think if I reinvent this brush to be a little bit more assertive, I think it could be great. Yeah, let's spend some time doing that actually. So I would probably reduce the flow and then pretty much get rid of that. Let's see how this feels. Okay, that's a little too. Okay, so if I do want some featheriness, maybe like that. Yeah, that seems like just the right amount. Cool. All right, I think I'm gonna call it a day, guys. Again, I was like kind of busy this morning, so I didn't get to pop up a video. So I'm also just feeling tired. I can feel my tiredness coming on too. But I'll try to take a nap, pump out another video later today, and then and see where it goes. I appreciate you guys though. Oh, let me just say this. You guys are off the chain, man. You guys have been nothing but awesome. Great comments. Nothing but positivity. Everyone's been super wonderful. You guys have really inspired me and motivated me to truly stick to this. So I appreciate you all, truly. Okay, I'm gonna call it here. All right, cool. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good rest of your day. Cheers.